we'll try to do this phase matching, and then what we will do is then we will try to do the profile fitting. So later on we will go for the rectangle refinement. So we will follow these steps. So similar to this, okay. So 1, 2, 3A, 3B, and 4. Okay. Then it will give you more. It will give better picture for you. Okay. In case if you miss something in the previous session, we can still get those things. Okay. So first thing what you do is let us take some very simple example, and I will try to do this do on something which is already sent to you. So we will work on the data which is already sent to you. Okay. So in this case, either we can do on NACL or we can do it on some other thing. Okay. So let us do it on NACL. Then for multi-phase, I will try to do this one. Okay. So if you already have this data, please keep it in open. So what I will do, I will keep only the data file. Then I'm going to remove all the things, because then it will be easy for.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
The PowerPoint is not visible, sir.
No, I'm not using PowerPoint. It will be like, can you see my screen?
But sir, I can't see, sir.
Okay. Wait, I will share it again. So now can you see
Yes, sir.
the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, so what I will do is, I think I have sent this data for you. So now first I will do for NACL. So this is very simple example. Then I will try to do for some one of the phases. Okay, maybe the multi-phase which I sent yesterday. We'll try to do that, and also maybe we can do between for annotize or retail. Okay, so there are different ways of getting your PCR file. So let us do very traditional way, like we will create our own PCR. So before that, we need to know the information for our space group. Okay, so for this we will do, what we will do is we'll open our Quellex. Okay, I'm going to open a Quellex, and then I'm going to try to open import the data. So I will check my database. So this database is there, so it's fine. You can use so many other softwares, like you don't have to use always Quellex. You can also use if your X-ray the system which is controlling your X-ray machine, if it is having some better softwares like your Match or something like iScore Plus or EVA, then it is better you do profile match from that machine. Okay, so it will give more information. So this also gives information. It is not like it is not giving information, but it is better. Like if you can get more information, it is better. The same, the procedure will be same. Just open your data. Okay, so then you do the background selection. First, I will do the background selection. So in this case, I will do background selection by automatic. And if I want to remove or add, then I use this button. Okay, then so we will see how it goes. Okay, so I think it's fine, because I'm just using. I'm trying to get basic information. So then I will do the peak search. So you can see here, if I use this particular thing, then it is putting 2 for one place. So 2 peaks for one peak. So I'll try to remove that, and then I will add the peaks which are already, which is not taken into account. Okay, so maybe somewhere here, then I will say okay. So I think I missed it. So I have to just add a peak here. I'm going to add the peak here, and I'm going to say okay. So as I know it is already in NaCl, so what I will do is I will do with constraints. So I have sodium and chlorine in my sample. Then I will go to the search. Okay. So now if you see, it has already taken NaCl. What are the things I need is I need to take this information. So I'll just open this information. I'll keep it. Then I will go for the full proof. Okay. So I open the full proof. I'll try to open the EDPCR. Okay. So then we will again start with the new EDPCR. You can also do with SIP, but let us here in this case I will do for manually. So NaCl, you can give or you can just leave it empty. It's not it doesn't make a big difference. Then pattern, I will add a pattern. So data, mine is XY data. So you should be careful. Okay. So if you are using free format, click this free format. If you are using this panadical data, you can click this. Or if you are using some other neutron data, you can click that. Okay. Or synchrotron data, whatever is there. Okay. So as we know, my in our case it is XY data. So I'm going to go to NaCl and then I'm going to take XY data. So how to know whether it is XY data? Just open it in a notepad. Okay, so if I open it in a notepad, then I can see it is in X is your true theta and Y is your intensity. So XY, that is the XY format. So now I'm going to open this, then go to your refinement. I'm using lab X-ray with the copper radiation, and I will use the Thomson Cox Hastings pseudo white. So then I will go to background. I will keep the manual one. So I will later collect the manual data. Then excluded region, you can see your data and then you can decide. Okay, so even in Quellex you can see. So if I want to start from 15 or 20, I can start from 20 and then I can go up to maximum is 90. So I can give that. Even if you don't give, it's not a problem, but this is some practice like you do one by one. Okay. So 0 to 15, I don't want to fit. And then I don't want to fit from 90 to 180. By default, your full proof will fit from 0 to 180. Okay. So these are the things I'm telling the program I don't have data in this range. Okay. So that is the meaning of that. Then I'm going to save it. So I'll just do NaCl. Then I have to add the phase. So I will add the phase. So initially we will do the profile fitting. So I'll take profile fitting of NaCl. You can leave it empty, it doesn't matter. Then for contribution, you should select, okay, I'm using X-ray data, then peak shape I want it in Thomson Cox, or you can try different things. Okay, later when you are free, you can do that. So I'm using Thomson Cox testing. Then symmetry is your space group Fm minus 3m. Okay, here if you can give Fm minus 3m, or what you can do is each space group has a number. For example, in this case, this is 225. Okay, even in the previous case, when we opened this list of, so if you go to list of space group, okay, so each space group will have some number. Okay, so for example, if I take this I4mm, then the number is 104. Okay, so in the same way, if I take F2m m minus 3, then it is 202. Okay, so in our case it is Fm minus 3m. So Fm minus 3m is somewhere here, so this is having a number of 225. So if you have some doubt that whether I need to give space or how to put minus, then you can also put 223, 225. Okay, the specific that the particular number. Okay, so if I want to say my space group is Pm minus 3m, then I can just put 221. Okay, so these things will come in hand. You can later you can do that. You can try that also. So if it is some tetragonal like P6 MCM or P63 by MCM, instead of writing all these things, I can just put 193. So the program will still recognize. Okay. So in our case, this is 225 fm minus 3m. So what I will do is I'll just put 225. This is equivalent to putting fm minus 3. Okay, so then I just put symmetry operation, then okay. So this is my first phase. I have only one phase, so it's fine. Then I go to refinement. So I will give 10 or 20 cycles. Then instrument, I'll put 0. I'll click OK. I'll click this OK. Then I'll save it. Okay. But one thing I missed is I don't have the data, background data. So what I will do is I'll open the win plotter. I'm taking XY data of NACL. Okay, so I'll open NACL data, and then I'm going to select my background. Okay, so what I will do is I'll just zoom it, and then go to point selection, select your background points. You can also do automatic, but when you do automatic, sometimes what happens, it is going to put a point in between two peaks, in the middle of the peak. So I just want to avoid that. That is why I'm just trying to take the data point like this. Okay, so then you can move to the next part of the data, and then again you take the data point which you want. So once you have sufficient data, you can save them. Save background point. Yes, I want to save. Then I give a name background, okay, or something like that. You can give any back something like that. It's fine. So it is said it is created a 19 points. Fine. So then if you want, you can open. I don't want to open. I go directly to this refinement. I go to background. Then I will import. So right now it is giving 10 points with 0, 0 everything. So once I import it, so NSTL, then there is a background point. It will just take 19 points. Whatever we have taken, all the points it is taken. Okay. So now I'll save it again. So always try to save each time. Sometimes it's going to miss. So normally you can either work on this, or you can also work on your notepad. Okay. So I will try to open the notepad also meanwhile. So okay. So the difference between opening in a notepad and a notepad plus plus is, so if you open it in notepad, if you run the program and if your PCR has changed, your notepad will not allow, like it will not update. Okay. But if I use notepad plus plus, and if I change this PCR in a ED PCR, this will allow to update the changes. Okay, so I will show you one of them. So if I go here, and then if I do something like I go to profile, then I need to put ABC values. So I will take ABC is 5.639. So over here, so also keep this. So right now ABC is 000 because here it is 000. Then 5.639 I'll put here in the EDPCR for 5.639, 5.639, and then everything is 90. Okay. So I put 90, then I'll just okay. I'll say okay, and then I'll save it. So if I come back here, it will say, okay, do you want to update? Yes, I want to update. Then you can see it has put all these numbers. Okay. So there is some problem with my version. Sometimes this code is not changing. So what I will do is I will close this. I'll put AUT is equal to 1, and then I will also put this 0 is equal to 1, 1. Okay. 1 means it is going to change. So I'm going to save it. Then I will open that same file in this EDPCR. Okay. Open it. EDPCR. Okay. Fine. Okay, so now sometimes it is crazy. Okay, so now we know that we have put ABC. Now what I will do, I will refine this ABC also. Okay, along with 0, I'm going to refine ABC. That means I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to save it. Then if I come here, it will say, okay, this is 21.1. Okay, so this is the second parameter that is going to refine. So I can run here, or I can run in the other one also. Okay, so I'm running from this place. So it has done some requirement. Now what I will do is, someone is, can you see my screen? Can you
Hello,
see?
sir.
Yes.
I think it is stuck. I don't know. I think
It was stuck.
stuck
Okay.
in the first
Okay,
place.
okay.
I don't know.
Okay, okay. I will stop it and I'll share it again. Now is it okay? Now is it fine?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, okay, fine. So now what? So I started with the same thing what we did yesterday. So I think you didn't miss much. So now we have done this first refinement. So and if I want to open the refined refined profile, then I have to put PRF. Okay, so there is something called PRF. You click this PRF and you can open that file which is just defined. Okay, so this is the refinement that it has done. So we did only for the ABC parameter. So you can see it is fitting the peak position. Okay, but it is not fitting the peak shape. So peak shape is not good. So for that, what you do is you go back. You can go to your refinement. You can also do. We will do X and Y for example because it's Thomson Thomson function. So we'll do this now. So I will run it again. Then we will see what is chi-square. So from 4 it is coming to 2, 3 something. Okay. So sometimes if something like this is happening, what you do is you just go back to the previous one. Okay, so you can see here now this fitting is not good because it has overfitted. Overfitted in the sense when you use X and Y both, it will try to go for more symmetric fitting. So this is not good. So what we'll do, we'll go back. So go back to this refinement profile, and then you can see it has it has changed a lot. Okay, so normally it should be 0.011 something like that. So we will do only the uh, X parameter. Okay, let us not touch Y. So let me see what happens now. Okay, so now it's okay. So if we do one, so these are the things that you need to know because X and Y, they are linked with each other. X will do only the some small changes in terms of shape, but when you go to for Y, it will have broadening. Okay, if it is anisotropic, then it will do a lot of changes. So now if you see here, it is right now it is coming okay, but if I want to fine tune, you know, if I do Y now, what happens, it will go back. Okay, so I will not touch this Y, instead I will do the W. Okay, so if you are using Thomson, don't do U and V, do only for W and X and Y. Okay, so this is again trial and error. So sometimes it depend on the sample, you need to do different kinds of refinement. Okay, so let me see how it goes. So this 2.11 somewhat okay, not big. So it is fine. Okay, so 2.07 is fine for now, and you can see the difference data. is somewhat okay. So one thing what you can also do is you can also do refinement for your background. For example, if you are not taken background properly, so in this case it has gone up and down. So in that case, what you can do is you go to refinement, you stop your XY. Okay, you can keep ABC, let it run, and then what you do is you go to refinement, try to do less cycles. I will do only for 5 cycles. If not, what happens, it will go too much variation. Okay, so when you do background, keep it less cycle, go to background, then you do refine all. Okay, but in this case you should take care, like we are fitting only from 15 up to 90. Okay, if there is any points, for example, here there are 2 points which are outside that range, so you don't have to refine that. If you refine it, then it will give an error. Okay, so I will just run it once, because then it will give a better picture for you. So if I run now, then it will give error that there is some holes or something. Okay, so it gives holes in the matrix. It is because there are two values which are out of the range. Okay, so now what I will do is I will remove these 2 points. Okay, then I will again run it. I will save it and run it. So now you can see there is a drastic change in the chi-square. Okay, so this doesn't mean that you are having really good fit, but it's just that software is finding this is a good fit. Okay, so always try to see your background also. Sometimes it is going out of range, then you have to come back, you have to again reload your old background and restart it. Okay, so but right now I think it's fine, it's not bad. So I think this is fine with the profile matching. Okay, so in this way you can try different ways. Okay, you can now what I will do is I will fix all the data, background data, then I will save it. Okay, and I will again try to do refining my X and W. Okay, this just to make sure that we have a very good profile fit to start with. So this is fine. I think it is stopping at some point. So now what I will do is uh, this is good, quite good fit. So this can be used as the starting model for your ritual refinement. Okay. So for ritual refinement, you need to do XYZ, then other things. So before that, you need to have contribution of your so your you need to get rid of the contribution from your instrument. Okay, so we have done 0 instrument, so you go to instrument, stop this 0. Okay, I'll click OK, then I'll save it. Now what I will do is I will save the same thing as different name. Okay, I will just put NaCl, then I'll put ritual. Okay, so that means I'm doing ritual refinement on the same. Okay, so you can give any name, so I'll just for simplicity I'm doing this. Now what you do is you have done the phase matching, so you have to do for the structural refinement. So what you do, you go to pattern, sorry, you go to phase. So here you can see there it is written as profile matching. Okay, instead of profile matching, now you need to do your ritual matching, so which is your structural model. Okay, so if you do this structural model, then rest will be the same. Okay, so your X, then you need to take care of this reflection. Okay, reflection should be automatically generated. So this is one more thing that you need to take care. Okay, and then you can I will just check again symmetry. So symmetry is good, 225. So then I'll save it. Okay, so now if you go back to my table, you can see there are two PCRs. One PCR is NaCl ritual, and then other one is NaCl. NaCl is profile fitting. NaCl ritual is we just started doing the our structural modeling. Okay, so when it comes to structural modeling, I will show what is the difference between these two. So I'll open again with this. So now I will just take it out. I'll try to keep it next to each other. Okay, I think you can see both together like this. The one in the right is NaCl with profile matching. The one in the left is with your retool refinement. Okay, so if you see the top layers, it will be same because JOP refers to the type which is we are using X-rays. In both cases it is X-rays, and NPR refers to Thomson Cox 7. Okay, so this is 7. So these things will be same, but when you go to the next part, okay, so you can see here when you go to this part, so in principle you can keep this is 1 1 in case of profile matching you can change the 0, but in case of when you come for your retool refinement, initially you just stop it. Okay, you start with this value whatever is there and then stop it. You don't have to change this. Okay, then if you go here, there is something called a JPT. Now it has become 0. 0 means it is ritual refinement or atomic refinement. Okay, so IRF is 2 in this case. Here it is 0. IRF refers to the HKL file. Okay, so once you run the each time when you run your profile matching, it will create HKL file. So this will be starting point in case of second time when you run the profile matching. But here we don't have that, so we should be always 0. IRF should be 0. Then what we do is we need to do the refinement of scale. Okay, so in case of profile matching, we are refining the 0. In case of your ritual refinement, we need to refine the scale. So I'll put a number for this. So when you put the number, you try to put you have to try to stop this x, y, all those things. So I'm going to stop it by just putting 0. Okay, so 0 means it is not changing. If I put some number, that means it is changing. So instead of here I'll put 1 1. That means I need to change the scale. So this is what I explained in case of in our okay, so this you need to remember. Okay, what are the things you need to change when you're doing the retool refinement? You need to change the scale factor. You need to change the isothermal temperature, isotropic temperature. You need to change XYZ, which is your atomic coordinates, and then you can also change the occupancy and your thermal parameter. Okay, so this I will explain one by one later. Okay, so scale I am changing. Then you need to put the I'm just going to close this again. Okay, so now I don't need this right now. I'll close this. I need information about the atomic parameters. Okay, so for that atomic parameter you can use you need to get a CIF file. Okay, CIF for your NaCl. So you can, if it is already well known, then it is easy to find CIF file. Okay, so one of them is here, somewhere here. So this is your meteorosproject.org, which is what I gave in my presentation also. You can get CIF file directly from this website. Okay, or if you have some database in your lab, you can always get the CIF file from your database. So if you want, what I need is I need a what is the atomic position for sodium and what is the atomic position for chlorine. So and then it also gives, so I'll give a conventional standard. I will show you is there in the CIF file. Okay, so if I open this, just give me a minute. Okay? So if I go back and then if I open the CIF file, it will have the atomic coordinates. It will also have the occupancy and BISO and all those things. That is the starting value. Okay. When we did profile matching, we gave some starting value for ABC and also starting value for space group. So same way, if I want to start a ritual refinement, I need to give some starting value for ABC and your XYZ and all those things. So that is given in your CIF file. Okay, I'll go to think in download.
लगेच जेवता येते काय करताय लगेच जेवून थोडा रिलॅक्स होता येतं ना सर
Okay, so this is the file. If I open it in Notepad, so you can see there is these are the atomic parameter, atomic positions of Na and then Cl. Okay, but in principle you don't have to give all these things. You have to give just only one of them. Okay, for example, if you go back to that website, it is giving Na is 0 position and then Cl is 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Okay, so this is sufficient. But if you take your for example, if you take any NaCl or anything, so if it is NaCl is a face-centered cubic, so if I draw a face-centered cubic, so this is your unit cell. If I say this is a unit cell of your NaCl, then it is a face center. That means you're having atoms on the corners like this, and then you're also having atom in the face, each face. Okay, so you're having one atom here, one atom here, one atom on the top surface, in the right, one in the front face, and one in the back face. So all 6, and also one in the bottom face. So you have atoms in the all in the middle of the face. Okay, so now if I take, this is your 0 position. Okay, 0 position. So let us assume this is your Na. Then what happens? Your next atom would be somewhere here, which is your Cl, which is in the center, face center. Okay, all these face center will be Cl. Okay, and then corners would be mostly your Na, because you should have NaCl, NaCl. Okay, so if I take this atom, the neighboring atom should be something with chlorine. Okay, so this is the neighboring atom. Similarly for this is the neighboring atom. So NaCl, this would be the structure. Okay, so now if I want to if I want to give the atomic coordinates, so for this, if I take, say it is a Na, and this is your origin, then 0 0 0 is the atomic coordinate. And if I want to tell this is my second sodium, Na2, then what happens? It is something around 1 0 0. Okay, so if I take, this is my sodium atom again, then it will be 0 1 0. Then if this is my z axis, then it will be 0 0 1. So I don't have to give all these coordinates. Instead, what I do give is, I'll give only one, which is your 0 0 0. Then for chlorine, I'm going to give it as 0.5 0.5 0.5. Then what happens? This is going to be regenerated. That means your program, foolproof program, will generate the rest of them. Okay, so your neighboring atoms is going to generate based on the space group. As I'm telling Fm minus 3m, so it will generate the corresponding positions. Okay, so for 0 0 0, next position will be 1 0 1 0 0. Okay, so like that it will generate in all 3 directions. So you don't have to give all the coordinates. Okay, so now if I go back to this, I'll open the EDPCR. Okay, it will. So initially what you did is you change this pattern to, sorry, not pattern, sorry, the phase to structure. Okay, then contribution is same. Your X-rays, your reflection has to be generated automatically. Automatically means you're asking the program to generate the reflections, HKL reflections, based on the space group. So you're giving space group as Fm minus 3m, which is 225, and then based on that it has to change. Okay, so now if you go back here, if you go to refinement, you can see this atom as it has been activated. Okay, so previously if I open the same, so I will just close this. I will open one more. I think I'll have second EDPCR. Okay, so in this EDPCR, what I will do is I'll open the NaCl, which is your profile matching. So if I open the profile matching and if I go into refinement, you can see atom is not activated. It is because we are doing Lebesgue. When you do Lebesgue, you don't have to give the atoms which are present in the in your sample. But when you go to the structural refinement, then it is giving, okay, you need to give atoms. If I don't give the atoms, then it will give some error. Okay, so for that, what I will do is I'll click this atom, and I have two atoms. One is Na, one is Cl. So I will give this Na, Na1, Na2, something like that, Cl. Okay, or you just give Cl. But when it comes to N type, N is the atom type. Label you can give anything. Okay, even I can give sodium. Just I write sodium. Here I will write chlorine. No, not a problem. But when it comes to N type, you need to give sodium as N, capital N, capital A. In the same way, chlorine is capital C, capital N. So if I am having cerium oxide, then I have to put capital C, capital E as a cerium N type. So this is the atomic type. Okay. Then when it comes to XYZ, you take the XYZ for first one. Okay. For sodium, it is 0, 0, 0. So I'll put 0, 0, 0. And then B-iso, you can start 0.5. Occupancy, I will tell why how to get occupancy. I'll just put 1 here. Okay. And then for Cl 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 are the XYZ. So these are the atomic positions. Then I'll again put 0.5 or something, and then I'll put 1. Okay. So this just to start what is the occupancy. Okay. But there is a way to get the occupancy. I will explain. Okay. So let us close this, and then I'm going to just save it. Now let us come back, and then you should you can ask why I put 1. Okay. So now if you go to this wind plotter, go to tools, there is something called as space group information. Okay. So if you go to space group, click this, then it will open a new window. Here you have to just enter the space group. Either you give Fm minus 3m and then enter, or you can just put 225 and then enter. I'm just giving Fm minus 3m, then enter. So if you see here, there is one more window. In this window, I just have to go up. Oh, sorry. I close it. Okay, 225. So if I go here up, so it will give the space group number is 225, and then it has something called as general multiplicity, which is 192, and then you need to remember this. Okay, so general multiplicity, then if you go down, if you scroll it down, then it will give the possible Wyckoff positions. Wyckoff position is nothing but it is the atomic position. So in our case, we know like our sodium is in 0, 0, 0 position. So you can look where is 0, 0, 0. Okay. So 0, 0, 0 is 4a. 4a is this is the site of Wyckoff position of sodium. Okay. Then our chlorine is in 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, which is nothing but half. Okay. Half is in is our position for our chlorine. So when you have this, then you should know this. Okay, so normally in principle what happens is if I want to define a general multiplicity, okay, or the multiplicity of a given site is, or the occupancy of the site is given as a formula which is I think, okay, I will write here. So the occupancy of a site, okay, of a given site is given as, so it is where I can, okay, it is the multiplicity.
Excuse me, sir. So the screen is freezing and there is lag, sir. The content being shared and your explanation is not being synchronized.
Okay. I think there is some problem with our internet. So right now, is it fine? Can you see?
It's delayed, sir. It's getting delayed. It's few times it's okay, other times it's getting delayed.
Okay. So again, I think I will again try to stop sharing and start again. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe because I'm switching between each thing, it is having delay. So let me again do it. Okay. So now I think you can see this. So site occupancy of a given site is it is given as a multiplicity of the site, okay, into fraction divided by the general multiplicity. Okay, so this is the normally formula for occupancy of a given site. Okay, so when you want to say the occupancy, so in our case, if we go back to this so the occupancy of sodium is the multiplicity of sodium is 4A. Okay, so 4A is sitting in, so I will try to make it slightly small. Okay. So if I take sodium chloride, Na is in 4A site, and then chlorine is in 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, which is 4B. Okay, 4B site. So and then we have a general multiplicity. So I'll just put multiplicity is 192. Okay, so this is what we have in your top. Okay, if you scroll this up, you have general multiplicity multiplicity for your Fm minus 3 is 192. Okay, 192. So now if I want to know what is the occupancy of Na, then it will be, you forget about A, B, all those things. Then you just put for Na, so it will be something like 4 into fraction. So as our case is NaCl, Na is 1, Cl is 1, Na, so it is 1 is the fraction divided by 192 is the general multiplicity. Okay, in the same way, if I want to have for my chlorine, then what I do is, it is multiplicity is 4 into 1, because Na is 1, Cl is 1, and then divided by 192. Okay, so whatever value you get, you just have to put this in your occupancy column. Okay, so in this case it would be something so 4 by 192 will give something like 0.0208. So you can just keep this as occupancy 0.0208, or as both are same, I'm just having a multiplication factor, I can keep it as 1. Okay, so you can either keep this as the occupancy as 0.0208, so that is what you can keep here. Okay, if you go here refinement, if you go to atoms, you can see your occupancy either you can put the 0.0208 for both, but as both are same, so I'm just putting 1. Okay, so if you are having some something doping, okay, so for example, if you are having doping some potassium in the place of sodium, okay, so in that case what happens is, so if I have something like this, okay, instead of NaCl, my crystal is Na 0.8, then potassium 0.2, and then Cl. Okay, so this is my crystal. So now what will happen to the occupancy? Okay, so when you have this kind of things, then your Na will be 4 into 0.8. Okay, because it is 0.8 times by 192, and then K will be, the occupancy of K will be 4 into 0.2 divided by 192, and then Cl will be just 4 into 1, because it is 1 times, divided by 192. Okay, so this would be the occupancy of each of these atoms. Okay, so instead of 2 atoms, here you need to introduce 3 atoms. Okay, so I have put 2 atoms because it is NaCl, but if I have something like this, then what I do, I make this as 3, and then what I will do is, instead of this, I can put 0.8, then 1, and then I have to put potassium K, and then potassium will sit in the same place as your sodium. Okay, so I'll use the same XYZ positions, but here what happens, here it will be 0.2. Okay, so something like this. So I have to accordingly I have to change this. Okay, so same thing with cerium oxide. If you have cerium oxide, and if you are doping zirconium in terms of cerium in the place of cerium, then you need to take care of this occupancy things. Okay, So this is a fraction that you already know, because this is you know when you are doing your samples. Okay. So in our case, I don't have this, so I'll just keep it like that. So these things you should keep in mind. Okay, when you are doping, when you are doing some doping, then this is how you are going to change it. Okay. So instead of like this, if you have some other thing where you are doping some oxygen in place of chlorine, or some other ion in terms of chlorine, then you have to replace that chlorine fraction. Okay. So that is the meaning of fraction. Okay. When we talk about fraction, that is your stoichiometry. Okay. Normally. So these things, okay, I'll keep it like that. Okay. So this I will share with you later. So these are the things that you need to know. Okay. So if you even if you go back here, so now I have this. So let us try to do one refinement. Okay. So before doing refinement, you need to make sure you are changing the scale, because the scale will give the fraction of each phases. Okay. So this scale is is changing during your run, and then what I do is I will close get rid of all this thing, because it may slow my computer. Okay. Now I can run the program. Okay. So if I go back to my notepad, so you can see here, this is your profile fitting. So in profile fitting, you have only information about space group, and ABC value. Okay. But here, when you put for JBT is equal to 0, that means when you have trying to put the atomic positions, so JBT becomes 0, IRF becomes 0, then you have to give number of atoms. Number of atoms is, okay. I will again stop sharing. Okay, I think now it should be good. Okay, so now if once when you see here, you are having two number of atoms. One for the first atom is Na, second atom is Cl. So instead, like as I told in the previous case, if I am doping some element in terms of in the place of sodium, then what happens? This becomes 3. Okay, I have to put this as 3, and then what I do is here I can just copy paste the same thing again. Okay, you can do manually, or you can do it in your EDPCR. Okay, then I'll put, this is my second element is K, and according to your fraction I can put here. Okay, if I am putting Na 0.8 and then K 0.2, then this will become something like this. Okay, so these are the things which are changing here. Okay, you can either do by through EDPCR, or you can also do it by manually. Okay, using your notepad. So I'll put this is 1 0. Okay, so B iso is your thermal parameter. Thermal parameter means what is the displacement of your ions. Okay, so normally what happens is you try to give less number for your Cl or oxygen. Okay, because this will have more thermal agitation. Agitation in the sense they will have a lot of thermal displacement compared to your sodium or cerium. Okay, cerium, sodium, they are quite heavy, so they sit in their place, or they have less vibration compared to your oxygen, nitrogen, chlorine, all those things. Okay, so now I am just starting with this. This is the starting point, and then I have to just do the refinement. Okay, so what I will do, I'll go here. I will try to do it like this. I will run this ritual. So you see it is having high chi-square, but you allow it to run for more number of cycles. Okay, so it has given some pattern, but if you go and zoom it, you can see there is your data is still not visible. Okay, so you just allow it to run for slightly longer cycles. So this is the number of cycles. Okay, so I'll put it as 20. Then I think I'll close them. I will try to open the EDPCR if you want to see what is happening. Okay. If you go here, I put 20. So this is the number of cycles. It has changed to 20. Okay. So you can also run it from here. Okay. Or you can run it from your both are same. So it will ask for data file. I'll keep the data file. Now you can see chi-square is coming down. Okay. So here it is a little bit slow initially, but now you can see it has already reaching the operating. So now what you do, you just do run it again. One more. So you can see it has already reached 2.99. Okay. So this is very simple example. So it is easy to get in 2-3 shots. But if you are using a different sample, then it is not that easy. Okay. But still you can see here there is some discrepancy in the terms of intensity. So now how to get rid of this is don't try to do refinement of your XYZ here. Okay. So always try to do refinement with respect to your atoms. Okay. So this is what I told in the in the PowerPoint. Okay. So you're doing scale factor, then you should do XYZ. But in our case, your sodium is in 000 position, and then chlorine is in 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. So in that case, there is no meaning in doing refinement of your atomic positions. So I'm not going to do XYZ. Instead, I can do for thermal agitation and also site occupancy. Okay. So for that, what I do, I'll go here. I will ask the program to change the BISO. BISO is your thermal agitation. Okay. For your sodium, and you can also do for chlorine. But always try to do one by one if you are doing for first time. Okay. So for me, I'm just doing both. Let us see what happens. So it has come down better. Okay, it is going. It is giving better fit. So now if you go back and you can see it is giving slightly better fit. Okay, so there is some amount of change, discrepancy. It's fine. So if you want to further improve, then you can also do occupancy. You go to atoms, then you can do. But you can see here BISO is some very large values. This is not allowed. Normally you should be very less. Okay, between 1 and -1. So what I will do is I'll keep it as 1 1. Okay, so something like that, and then I will try to do the occupancy. If you uncheck, that means this is going to be fixed during refinement. Okay. Okay. So now if I think, okay, this is sufficient, then what I can do is I can extract some information. So this is not really good, but still I will say, okay, this is fine. For my part, it is fine. So what I will do is I have to go here. So you can see occupancy does not change too much. It is slightly changing. So I am going to stop this, and then I am going to stop all the refinement except my ABC parameters and my scale factor. Okay. So now this is your ritual refinement for your NaCl crystal. Okay, or NaCl data, whatever you have. Okay. So something okay, you can still go down, but sometimes you need to be careful. As we saw already, if I do refinement for my BISO, it will go to the chi-square will go down, but at the cost of some something like unbelievable, some. So you can see here it's going down. If I open my BISO would be having very large values. Okay, sometimes this may not be acceptable in some cases. So let us assume, okay, let us accept it in our case. So in this case, what happens is you may whatever you are doing fitting, it may be out of some believable factors. Okay, in principle, your sodium may not be having so much of vibrations. Okay, So that is the reason why you should be very careful when you do this kind of refinement. So let us accept this. The reason is I just want to show the next part. Okay, what happens next? Okay, so let us assume it is a quite good fit, even though it is having some discrepancy. What I will do is let us assume it's fine. Okay, now what are the other things you can extract from this? Okay, one is, okay, you have done the retrieval refinement. Now you want to get the data. What are the data you can get extract from this refinement? So for this, what you do is you go to this output file. Okay, you go to this output file, and then there is something called as a SIF. Okay, you just check this and then save it. Okay, so now what it will do is it will generate a crystallographic information file for your fitting. Okay, so like in the previous case, you have downloaded some file from your database. So in the same, this is from your database. In the same way, now if I click this, then your foolproof program will generate a zip file from your fittings. Okay, whatever fitting you are having, from this data, it will create a zip file which can be used to generate your own crystal structure. Okay, so now this is one thing you can do. Then you can also go for pattern output, and then you can actually do, you go to this Fourier, and then you click either on the second from last or G Fourier. Okay, any one of them. Okay, so I'll just use G Fourier. You can also go here and you can click this HKL. So that means it will generate HKL, multiplicity, despacing, 2 theta, full width of maximum. I observed is your intensity of your data file, intensity of your calculated file, then the difference. Okay, so you can do a lot of things here. So we will try to do one by one. So we have done only for, then there is PRF. PRF is used by default, you keep it as win plotter. Only then you can create, you can generate this file. Okay, so because it is generating a PRF file. Okay, so now just to summarize, I have done, I have opted for SIF generation. I have opted for Fourier generation. I have opted for HKL, some of the HKL parameter. Okay, so let us do only these things. Then later I will show more options. Now I will run it again. Okay, so right now, if you go to that folder in ACL, you have some files here which is having some file, out file, all those things, but you don't have zip file. Okay, so now what I will do is I will just run it again, save this, and I will run it again. Maybe I will run it only for less cycles, 5 cycles. Okay, so if I run it again, okay, it is giving some value, so let us assume it's fine. Then if I go here to this folder, you can see it has generated more files. Okay, so what are these more files? So what I will do, I will try to take only the retrieval file. Okay, I'm not, NACL is for profile matching. So if you go back here, if you see here, it has generated a file with SIF. Okay, so this is what it has generated right now. Okay, so just now it has done that. You can see the time is 12:33. So this file can be used to generate your crystal structure. Okay, so let us see what are the things we can see, we can have, or we can extract. Okay, so I'm going to close this. I will go back to this window, and I will open this Vista. Okay, so if you want to open this Vista, it should be linked. Okay, so I have to go to here, I have to check here. Okay, you open your foolproof suite toolbar, go to settings, then you should have this linking. Okay, if not, what you should do is you should browse, and you should go and see. So I had extracted my Vista on my desktop. So I'll go to this Vista folder. Then I have to look for Vista application. Okay, so with this symbol, and then I will open this. So this will link. Okay, so this is linking here now. Okay, so now if I click on this run Vesta, it will open the Vesta. program. Okay, similar to your wind plotter, this is a new program. So now here what I do is I want to plot my data which has just generated. Okay, so what I will do is go to file, you open new structure. Okay, you clear all the things which is there. I'm going to clear this, so that means it is removing everything. Then you import the zip file which is generated just now. Okay, so I'll click import, and I'll go to that folder, NaCl folder, and then so this is the file I'm going to open. Okay, so you can see, okay, it is giving NaCl. Now you just click OK. If you click OK, you can see it has generated the your NaCl crystal structure. Okay, so this structure is for your refined data, not from your database or anything. This is from the refinement what you did just now. Okay, so you can I will try to unzoom it, and you can play with this. So you can see, you can change this orientation and everything. So I will just keep it like that. Then what are the other things you can do is you can control what color you want. So I don't like yellow, so I want to put some blue. Then you can see it is changing. Okay, if I want to make this some red, I can change this red. Then this will give red like that. Okay, so now it is also having something like styles. Okay, right now it is in ball and stick. I can make it as spheres. Okay, it will just put all the spheres filled, and then I can have polyhedra. So you can see chlorine is in circles, and then if you take Na, so sodium, it is in polyhedra. Okay, so it is in this form. Then you can also control the how much transparent it should look, all those things. Okay, so even in polyhedra, I think you can, if you go here, I don't want to see it in yellow. So if you can control the color of your polyhedra and everything. Okay, so this is how you can actually then you can, what you can do, you can export this polyhedra figure, and then you can give it in your manuscript. Okay, so you can go to file, then there is something called as export raster image. Okay, so you can export this raster image, and I will give NaCl. You can have different formats. Let me keep just TIFF file. Okay, it is saving in the same folder where you had your data is there. Okay, so it will ask how many scale means XY, how many you want. So I'll just keep one scale is fine. One scale means it is one unit cell in X axis. Okay, so now if I go back, I think, okay, I should be, it has created a TIFF file. So I can open this file using my paint or anything. So if I open it in paint, you will see this is the crystal structure that we generated, right? Okay, so this you can do that. Then next, what you can also do is there are different functions here. Okay, for example, I will just go back to the ball and stick. Then if I want to know the distance, okay, if I want to know the distance between two atoms, I can click here. I can click here, and then I can select the neighboring atoms. Okay, this and this, for example. Then it will give the distance between sodium and chlorine. The distance between sodium and chlorine in this case is 2.82 angstroms. Okay, in the same way, if I want to know the distance between two sodium, what I will do, sodium, then it will give the distance between two sodium atoms. Okay, so you can also get all this information. Okay, and if I want to know the distance between this sodium and this sodium and this oxygen, then I can click that. Then you can also get the distance between two neighboring atoms. Okay, so this is how you can get the information about the distance between two atoms. Or if you want to know the angle, so chlorine, sodium, and chlorine. Okay, so from the this thing. I'll come back. Okay, so now if I want to know the angle between chlorine, sodium, and chlorine. Okay, something problem. Okay, you can also like you can get angle on all these things. Okay, so all these things it can be generated by using this VESA software. Okay, or VESA program. So I think I'll close this. Then if you go back to your full proof, you can also generate your G Fourier. Okay, so you go to this G Fourier, then it will open a new window with one more program. So you can open the file that you have created. So you go back to this SIT and then NaCl. So it has generated some you click that and then you have to run this. Okay, if you run this, then it is running the Fourier program. Okay, so once it runs, once it completes the finishes, then you can see it has created some G Fourier. Okay, or Fourier map. So Fourier map is I think I will again stop and again start the sharing. Okay, so now you can see this is your Fourier map, and this is the starting position. For example, if you are in 000 position, then you can go to the next position by clicking this. Okay, so this is a layer. Okay, so this is second next layer. So if you go like that, you can see there is more layers. Okay, so and if you want to see the atoms, there is something called as this activate the atoms representation. If I click this, it will ask, yes, I want to activate. So it is showing some values here. Okay, so if I change this, you can see this is your chlorine atom, and similarly you should see some sodium atom somewhere. Okay, so these are the this is how you can actually generate your Fourier maps, okay, for your sample. So for this you need to do your refinement, okay, ritual refinement. Only then you can make this you can also you can play with these things. Okay, so these are the things that you can extract from your ritual refinement. So let me see what are the other things I can show. So I will get rid of that. So this was one of the simple example. So you can also try on other examples. So what I have done is I have shared some example for you in the morning. So if you go back, if you go to this rutile, there is already a ritual a CIF file for rutile. Okay, I will also give you one the CIF file for your anatase. So if you go back in this, if you open it with the notepad, you can see there is information about the ABC parameters. There is information about your space group, okay, for your rutile, and then there is also your positions, okay, atomic positions, titanium and oxygen positions. So you can start with this model, and then you can try to do first you try to do the this profile fit, okay, with P42 by MnM. If you are having problem putting this space group, you can just put 136. Okay, 136 is the space group, the number for your. Go here 136. So 136 is P42 by Mn. This okay. So M. Okay. So this, you can directly put 136 instead of space group. Okay. So if you have some problem to write this space and all those things, don't worry. So just put the number, space group number. Okay. So these things you can try. And one more thing I wanted to show is your output file. Okay. You go to external, you go to sum, and then you open this NaCl ritual, okay, because that is the one which is for ritual. So if you go down in the bottom of the page, you can see there is these factors, okay. Rp was 20, Rwp was 23.5, and then Rexp is 7.92, okay, 91. So then your chi-square is around 8.84, okay. So this is for your least square fitting refinement. So you will also find some for one more here for so you can give these values, okay. So you can give these values, but again, as I told, your chi-square and all those things, it depends on your data and also the model, okay. How good is your model, how good is your fitting, okay. So normally in this case, I don't have really good fitting in terms of this peaks, okay. And if you can improve that fit, this fitting, then you get better values for your chi-square and RP and RWP, okay. So this is like your ritual refinement is a least square fit where you need to do a lot of trials, okay. You change different parameters and then you try to get good RP, RWP, REXP and chi-square, okay. So this is how you do ritual refinement on a given sample. And then if you have two phases, then what happens is you will have I will try to open some old one maybe. Okay. I think I'll go directly here. So maybe I will show again one more problem or one more example for multi-phase. Okay, I think it is difficult for me right now to take that. Okay, I think I have that. Okay, so if I have, for example, if I have more than one phase, then what happens is I can also get the quantification. Okay, so quantification would be all in your out or in your sum file. Okay, so you open your out file, and if you go down, then what you would see in the end is along with your there's some file. So this is for some other example. We will try to do this tomorrow or sometime later. So if you go here, you can see you will see some fractions. Okay, so where is that? Okay, here. Okay, so fraction. So some it is written as fraction. So this is something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phases. It has 5 different phases. Then if you want to quantify, you can know you can if you do the ritual refinement, so you can get what is the fraction. Okay, so the first phase is around 37.6%. The second phase is around 17.8%. Third phase is around 20.8%, and PBS is around 5.1%, and your gypsum is around 18.52%. Okay, so this you get if you have more than one phase. Okay, you can also do this kind of quantification of these phases. Okay, so for that you should have done uh, ripple refinement by using all the phases. Okay, so this again I will show you again by taking some other example where you have more than one phase. Okay, so that is one thing which I wanted to show you. But I think for today maybe we will stop at this point, because this itself is already a lot of things for a beginner. If you are a beginner, then this is a lot of information, so I don't want you to get lost in everything. Okay, so for multi-phase we will try again tomorrow. And then there is one more concept which I wanted to cover. So maybe I will start with this concept about crystallite size and then strain analysis. Okay, then I will try to do one for multi-phase. Okay, so if it is fine, then if you have any question, I will take questions. Okay, so I think okay, I will share this video. I know there was some problem in internet, so I will just see if there is any. So this label you can give anything. Okay, you can even write sodium Na. Okay, Na1Cl. You can give anything, but when you're doing for the next one, okay. So the next so for first column is fine. Where is it? So in this case, you can give anything in the first one atom. Okay, this is just for your information. I can write Na1 or just Na. Okay, it will not make any difference. But when it comes to the second one, here you need to give properly. Okay, Na, only Na. Okay, don't try to write Na1, Na2. Then you will get error message. Okay, so that means you cannot find the atom. Okay, same thing here. Cl should be in capital. I cannot write Cl1, Cl2. Okay, so these are some things you need to keep in mind. uh, you can also write Na1 or Cl1 or just Na, doesn't matter. Okay, so that is fine. Then yeah, I think there are a lot of technical issues. Fine. Can you please explain G to part again? Okay, I will do it again. Okay, so not a problem. I will see if there is any other question. So if you have any question, you just type it here. I will try to explain again. Till the time I will explain the G Fourier. Okay, so you just if you want to do G Fourier, before that, what you're supposed to do is you have to do ritual refinement, and then in the output file, like if you go to EDPCR, you open your PCR file, the one you did for your ritual refinement, not the profile matching. Okay, you should use the one for ritual refinement, and then in the output you should always make sure you have taken the G Fourier. If I don't have this, then it will not generate a INP file, which is necessary for doing the your Fourier transform. Okay, so there are other things also. I will show this also. HKL. I didn't open this. Okay, I will open that also. So normally what happens is here once you save that, and if once you run this, then what happens? Once you once you run that, then it will create that INP file. Okay, so if you go back to that folder, you will see that INP file should be present. Okay, so here is that INP file. Along with that, it has created something called as HKL file. So now if I open this HKL file, okay, then I will just close for time being. Okay, so if you see here, it has already given some information here. Okay, so what are this information is this this is the code. This code refers to your alpha 1 and alpha 2, K alpha 1, K alpha 2. Okay, then you have HKL values. So for the first peak, these two peaks are same because it is from K alpha 1, K alpha 2. So this is 111 HKL 111. Forget about multiplicity. Don't worry too much about that. Then it is also giving D HKL. This is your D spacing. Okay, D spacing for 111 is 3.257. Okay, so then D spacing for 200 is 2.8220. This is for your sample, not for the not from your database. Okay, so it has created all these things. You can all this has also created 2 theta range or 2 theta position for your first peak. Okay, and then this HW is your FWHM, full width at half maximum. This will be used to calculate your crystallite size. Okay, so later tomorrow I will explain that. Then it has also created given the observed and the calculated. Okay, so this is the difference for your intensity of the first peak. In the same way, it has given the difference in intensity for the second peak. So these are the things which will be used later on for doing some crystallized size and strain analysis. Okay, so that is the reason I showed you this one. And now if I take the full proof and you go back here, so there are a lot of other programs. I am not able to cover everything. I will try to do one by one. Okay, so we run the Vista. In the same way, you can also run the full proof. Okay, a full proof studio. So I will just try to do that also before doing the G Fourier second time. Okay, so I go back to that folder, NASCL folder, and then I just click this. So you can see here it is also giving you the crystal structure, but Vesta gives better one because in terms of you can have different types of models like polyhedra, all those things. You can also do the same thing in Foolproof Studio, but it is a little bit cumbersome. Okay, it is not straightforward. So that is the reason I didn't show this Foolproof Studio. You just try to use this Vesta. Okay, Vesta is a little bit advanced version. Then I will go to this G Fourier, and then I will try to open it. So first thing what you do is you open your INP file. Okay. So NACL, then INP file. Then here you need to run it. Okay, you have to run this calculation. Then you allow the program to do the calculation. Okay. In case of Vesta, you don't have to do this run. Okay, only in case of Fourier you have to run. Then if I want to show the atoms, then I have to click this and I have to accept it. Okay, so sodium, chlorine, sodium, chlorine. So you can see they are in alternatively. Okay, so sodium will have a chlorine next to it. In the same way, chlorine will have a sodium next to it. Okay, so this is how it is because it is Na plus Cl minus. So this has to be maintained. Okay, then you can go from one layer to another layer. Okay, so this is like you are having different layers. So you can change that by doing this. Okay, you can see that it is changing. Okay, so from one layer to other layer. So now you are in a different layer. Okay, so these things you can do, but there are more uses of this Fourier mapping, which I may not be able to do it here. Okay, so you can also do the simulation, and you can see in one shot you'll get it. Okay, so you can also change this what happens in case of 0.5. Okay, I want to see only up to 0 to 0.5. Then this is how it looks. Okay, so all these things you can do, but only thing is I'm just giving very brief introduction. Okay, I am not going in detail in this, so you can do more than this, which you can try later on. Okay, so once you get more hold on the refinement, then you can go to one of each of these programs, and then you can try to learn in detail. Okay, so for now, let us not go in detail much. So okay. Okay, so what I will do is I will share this video. Okay, I will stop the recording, and then I think I will